Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Guys YouTube channel where the Force is family. I am Master Paul,
I am Mando on fire.
and we weren't expecting to do this video today because we had already done a live stream earlier and we were going to call it a night, but then we remembered we had this article in our backlogs and we figured it was important enough to where we could crank out one more video tonight. So this is an article from IGN that says Disney Plus Ahsoka series casts, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Natasha Lou Bordizzo as Sabine Wren. Now, since Michael was the one who discovered this article, I will let him read it. So, Michael, take it away.
All right, so pulling up the article now, as we said, Disney Plus has found a casting for Sabine Wren for the Ahsoka series, and this was written by Matt Kim and posted about 3 days ago. Actually, 2 days ago, on November 19th. So starting from the top, Disney Plus is slowly stacking the cast for its upcoming Star Wars series, Ahsoka, alongside Rosario Dawson's titular character, Natasha Lou Bordizzo, who has been cast as Sabine Wren from the animated Star Wars Rebels series. According to Deadline, Lou Bordizzo has been cast to lead a role opposite Dawes' Ahsoka, meaning Sabine Wren could feature prominently in an upcoming live-action series. And then, of course, here's a picture of her, just for reference.
And I will say, that is here. I'm gonna pull up a quick picture of Sabine just so we can do somewhat of a back and forth comparison. So I'm gonna pop this out for now and then share my screen. So there's Sabine in the show, and then here is Sabine as she's supposedly going to be live cast, and I don't know about you, Michael, but that's pretty close.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty close, especially given last time that we saw her where she just had dark hair and really short hair from when and that she was going with Ahsoka to find Ezra.
Okay, so yeah, as far as the look, I think she's got it.
All right. And then continuing on with the article. So Sabine Wren is the Mandalorian morph first introduced in Star Wars Rebels. She is a member of the Ghost Crew. We already know this. And at the end of Rebels, kind of just briefly recaps where she left with Ahsoka Tano from Lothal, specifically the search for Ezra, which could set up how Wren will show up on Ahsoka given the two characters' shared history. And just for a bit of context, they were actually looking for Ezra because Ezra had just disappeared on Thrawn's Star Destroyer, along with Thrawn as well. Well, after the Star Destroyer was being towed by Purgle, who had then ingested some sort of hyperdrive fuel and then just shot into space at light speed.
Right.
So continuing down, it basically says that Disney's Ahsoka series is set to begin production in early 2022, so it shouldn't be far along now. Along Sabine Wren, the series is set to include Hayden Christensen's reprising role of Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, who is also, of course, confirmed to be reprising his role for the Obi-Wan series. As a side note, Star Wars...
And both of those we are really looking forward to.
Yes. Ahsoka will be written by Star Wars Rebels co-creator Dave Filoni, and also the co-creator for the Clone Wars, respectively so, who appears to be bringing several of his animated Star Wars protagonists to live action. Filoni was also behind the creation of Ahsoka Tano, Anakin Skywalker's Padawan during the Clone Wars. The character made her live-action debut in the second series of The Mandalorian, and that is pretty much it. Clear as crystal, we're going to get a casting for Sabine Wren, being that this individual here, named Natasha Lou Bordizzo, and this is coming from both Deadline as IGN reports, so we do know this to be 100% legitimate.
Yeah, so that I think is going to be cool. So let's talk about this for a minute. So now we know that Sabine has been cast. So, how do you think Sabine's character might be different in live action post Rebels than it was certainly from the start of Rebels?
Hmm. Well, one thing to point out is that she's definitely going to be more of a matured Sabine, kind of holding out hope for Ezra, because that's literally where we had first left off from Star Wars Rebels, where one of the last lines was that they were going to find Ezra, and this was after the fall of the Empire, specifically when this happened.
Right. Yeah. I think that's all very very valid. Um I'm still not yet sure though what role she might fill in, like, while Ahsoka, because I'm sure they're going to show Ahsoka again meeting up with Mando and Grogu in season 2.
Hmm.
So I'm sure they're going to show maybe what Sabine was doing while that was happening. So that will definitely be interesting to see. Um Maybe we might see Sabine meet up again with Bo-Katan, and of course Bo-Katan has to explain to Sabine how she lost the dark saber after, after Moff Gideon got involved, and certainly after Sabine had given it to her.
Hmm.
In fact, now that I think about it, maybe they might use the Ahsoka show to sort of clear up that confusion of, hey, Bo-Katan has to win the dark saber back from Din Djarin in Mando. She can't just accept it, where in Rebels she did. So
Hmm.
I'm sure I'm sure Disney knows that there is that error there, and they will try and correct it. What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, and the thing is that it wasn't necessarily something that we had an extreme problem with, like some um, creative decisions, we'll just say. But
Mhm.
it's just something that we see as odd, where we've seen it in memes, we've even seen it in serious dialogue, where people have said, why did Bo Katan just accept the dark saber from Sabine, where where she has to be given it to or earned it from Din Djarin? Like, they're like, what's going on, basically?
Right. And again, assuming that the Ahsoka takes place after Mando season 2, maybe having found out that Bo-Katan lost the dark saber, maybe Sabine tries to get it back herself.
Hmm.
And maybe because we've all been focusing on, of course, the eventual showdown between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, but maybe there's a Din Djarin Sabine showdown on the horizon.
I would say it's definitely plausible. One thing to remember is that The Mandalorian, thanks to the creative minds of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they're more or less using the Mandalorian series to be somewhat of an engine of a, for lack of a better term, cinematic universe, where it's not
Yes.
going to be quite as big as the MCU, since that pretty much raised the standard. But these different shows are going to be world building into a much larger universe other than a Mandalorian sees a baby Yoda, gotta take him home.
Yes. So ultimately, we're just spitballing here. We're not making any definitive predictions that this is going to happen. We're just brainstorming ideas. But aside from that, I think we're going to go ahead and end this video. So, anything you want to say, Michael, before we head out?
I think that pretty much just about covers it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And just remember, everyone, the Force is family. See you guys